From the jails with John G. Sutton. Today we're going to talk about a hanging at Strangeways prison in the year 1903. Just a little journey back in time. Please, ladies and gentlemen, do like and subscribe. You can't tell how much this helps, Really, it's dead simple. And also there's a link to my book, which I know you're going to love these books, because if you're listening to this channel, then it's the same style. It's me. No ghost writers here, just Sooty, yeah? That's the nickname they give me when I was at school. Now I'm known as Grumps, because I'm an old bastard and I'm a granddad. Anyway, I'm going to talk today about the murder of a man called Bombardier Harry Short, who was murdered on the night of the 24th of April in the year 1903. Now, a bombardier is the equivalent rank to a corporal in the standard British Army, but a bombardier is a rank peculiar to the Royal Artillery. Now, I was a bombardier in the Royal Artillery. So this is a story that kind of resonates with me. The murderer was a man called Gunner William Hudson, who was 26 years of age. Now, William Hudson had joined the army and been posted to the Royal Artillery barracks in Preston, at Fulwood in Preston, the barracks there, as a gunner in the Royal Artillery. And he had apparently a rather difficult relationship with his non-commissioned officer, Bombardier Harry Short. They just didn't get on, apparently, although the reasons for this are not explained. But one thing that did happen was Bombardier Short placed William Hudson on report for insubordination and apparently striking him. So he'd obviously stuck one on the NCO, which is a serious matter in the British Army. You just don't do that. And he ended up on a court-martial. And William Hudson was, amazingly enough, found not guilty, because it was one man's word against the other. There were no witnesses. And basically, he was found not guilty. And to celebrate, William Hudson, with two of his other friends, had gone out on the lash. That's a colloquialism meaning they went out to get totally bladdered. Another one, it means drinking too much. Apparently they had 13 beers and 5 whiskies, according to the evidence that was presented at Manchester Assizes before the judge. And what happened was, when they came back from drinking all this copious amounts of beer and whiskey, William Hudson, who was somewhat the worse for wear, had been shouting abuse and staggering around on his way back to the barracks, shouting that he intended to do for Harry Short. I'm going to do him. I'm going to sort him out. I'm going to sort him out. I'm going to kill him. All that nonsense. Anyway, his friends persuaded him not to do it, because they knew where Harry Short was. Knew where his barrack room was, and they managed to get William Hudson to bed, into his bed. But apparently, he didn't immediately go to sleep. He was sat up in bed, swearing that he intended to get his revenge on Bombardier Short. So the next morning, at 7 a.m, when Reveille was sounded, that's time to get up. Yeah, in the army, it was found that Bombardier Short had been shot through the head, and they couldn't find any witnesses to this. I mean, the people who were in the same area as Bombardier Short were saying yes, they heard a noise, but they thought it was a door banging. It wasn't. It was a rifle going off, and Bombardier Short had been shot through the head and was dead. Subsequent investigations found that the bullet that they located was from a particular rifle, and there was only one of these rifles in the regiment at the time. It belonged to a certain soldier who was subsequently arrested, pleaded his innocence, and said on that morning he woke up and found that somebody had stolen the rifle from the rack next to his bed, and that he had to go and retrieve it. And he retrieved it from a man called Gunner William Hudson, who asked, when he went to retrieve the rifle, for a pull-through. That's a rag that you put on a string and they pull it through the barrel to clean the weapon. So William Hudson had cleaned the gun that he'd taken from this particular soldier and handed it back. And he said, "You mustn't say anything about this." Subsequent investigations by the police, led by Detective Inspector McLennan, and McLennan interviewed the soldier who's owned the weapon, who was in custody by this time because obviously they'd identified the gun, and he was in the regimental cells, because each barracks has a regimental cells, a regimental prison, and he advised that he had retrieved his gun from Gunner William Hudson. Hudson was subsequently interviewed, denied it, but statements were taken, reluctantly received, from the other soldiers who were kind of practicing misguided loyalty to Gunner Hudson. And Gunner Hudson was subsequently arrested, charged, and taken before the justices and sentenced at Manchester Assizes, which is today Manchester Crown Court, sentenced to death. Although they said it was circumstantial evidence, there was so much of it that it was inevitable that the only person that would have done it had access to the gun and actually cleaned it and had taken the weapon was Gunner Hudson, and he had shot and killed Bombardier Short. He was sentenced to death and subsequently taken to Strangeways, where on the morning of the 12th of May 1903 at 8 a.m, Gunner William Hudson, who wasn't Gunner William Hudson by that time because he'd been dishonourably discharged from the army following his arrest, he was taken to the execution shed at the back of B Wing, and he was hung there. And apparently he went with a great deal of courage, pronouncing his innocence to the end. But innocent or not, Gunner Hudson was transferred from the gallows, having been hung, and buried in an unconsecrated ground within the walls of Strangeways jail. So that's today's little sad story of a man who was hung at Strangeways. There's quite a lot of them. I'll be going through these slowly, and what I want to really get to, I'll get to one or two of my favourites in the future. So I hope you enjoyed that little mad story about a soldier who went wrong, and an ex-member of the Royal Artillery shot his bombardier. How sad is that? Here we are, folks. It's that time of day. Yes, the famous song dinger has reappeared, and I'm going to sing you, well, I'm not going to sing to you, am I? I'm going to murder this. Is a song by Jim Reeves, or performed by Jim Reeves, and it's about a guy who seemed to foresee telephone sex and the internet, you know, and what we've got today, we call it sending dick pics and stuff like that. Quite what people do about this, I don't know, but it seems to be all the rage these days. This is the song He'll Have to Go. Are you ready? You're sitting comfortably? I will soon change that. Put your sweet lips a little closer to the phone. Let's pretend that we're together all alone. I'll tell the man to turn the jukebox way down low, and you can tell your friend there with you, he'll have to go. Whisper to me, tell me, do you love me true? Or is he holding you the way I do? Though love is blind, make up your mind. I've gotta know, should I hang up, or will you tell him he'll have to go? You can't say the words I wanna hear while you're with another man. Do you want me? Answer yes or no. Darling, I will understand. Put your sweet lips a little closer to the phone. Let's pretend that we're together all alone. I'll tell the man to turn the jukebox way down low, and you can tell your friend there with you, he'll have to go. There you go. He'll have to go. Just murdered by John G. Sutton. Do please like and subscribe. It helps a great deal, you know.